3 years on.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Is that recording now? No? Okay.
It won't.
Be in.
We'll just rip it from YouTube because we're live.
We're live now?
We're live.
We went live? Awesome.
We are live, fellows.
And we have a very special guest who drove all the way from Winnemucca, Nevada, where he lives. Isn't that where you live?
Winnemucca?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
It might be where I live tonight. You never know.
Yeah, you're really going to leave here and drive that far? You're immune to driving.
Driving does not bother me.
Yeah. So this is called the official Gray Shirt and Flat Brims podcast.
Wait a minute.
Curtis has a hackle shirt. Matt has a Patagonia, and I have the Rattle Bass. But this is Matt Calise from Loon, and he also reps a bunch of other brands. Real fishy dude. We've been friends with you for how long now? Like 5 years or something?
Yeah, about there.
About 100 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a comment from somebody saying it's 11 o'clock almost Eastern time.
Thank you for that notification.
Yeah. We've been busy tonight. We've been Loon living it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been doing stuff.
And our pizza's ready.
He said we can't be starting a live feed this late. Well, guess what? We're doing it.
Yeah. Why not?
And the beauty of the interwebs is that this fancy live stream technology will be available tomorrow morning at 6 when he wakes up to read the funny papers.
That is true.
So we salute you between the hackles.
And we have to apologize to Brandon, who rips our audio, because this is going to be on YouTube only, Brandon.
Yeah, we have until episode 35 to figure out how to
Every
do the audio.
dang time something new happens.
Yeah, but
we're getting better. The audio this time should be super crisp and clean because it's going directly from our fancy, whatever that is, mixer.
The Zoom Nerd Mixer.
H6 into YouTube, like directly. Doesn't get any better than that.
So anyway, the other thing is we just got done doing Loon Live with Mr. Matt, and it was fun, except for the fact that I had to tie flies the whole time, and I didn't know.
Well, that was my plan all along.
We did an iron fly, so if you didn't check out the Loon Live when it gets published, go check it out. We did a lot of ripping on each other and other stuff like that, and we did 3 flies.
2.5. You can't really count that last one. It was sketchy.
Yeah, spoiler alert, it's called the hemorrhoidal slider.
I thought it was pretty good for the most part.
No, it was good. It was good. That's how we roll around here.
I kind of nailed the head on that one.
You did. That was a bold move.
Bold move, Cotton. All right. So the reason I say that, we've been literally sitting at this table now for like an hour and a half,
since
2 hours.
6 o'clock.
2 hours.
Yeah, actually, since 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so almost 3. I'm tired. I'm done.
I usually only like to work like an hour and a half a day. So we literally are going to order pizza, and it's going to come to the shop, and we're going to eat pizza while we do this.
I'm actually going to have to go pick it up because they won't deliver to a business.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
even though it's across the street?
It's ridiculous.
Huh.
At Hungry Howie's, please change that policy.
Yeah. The old Scuba Steve says this is way too late for me to sit here all episode.
Well,
this is a 10-minute episode.
Yeah.
Listen, Steve, just push pause on Roadhouse. I know that's what you're watching right now. And just put on some headphones and listen along. It's not going to kill you. And I'm not going to accept that comment unless you go to our Facebook page, group Fly Tying with Uncle Cheech, and you have to put a meme there stating your frustration with how late this is.
He'll do it.
He'll do it.
Where does Steve live?
Steve's in Denver.
What? Steve?
He's just making fun.
I know.
It's only 6 o'clock, halfway between here and Hawaii, so we should be good.
Yeah, so there's somebody there that's just finished up a dinner.
Yeah.
Speaking of dinner.
Yeah. Curtis,
Peace out.
Be gone.
BRB.
Curtis,
All right.
Curtis is going to get snacks for us.
Right. Snacks, a.k.a. pizza. Jared says, make them deliver pizza to a homeless guy in the parking lot. That'd be good. All right. So, Mr. Matt, why don't you kick us off? What are you doing in Utah, first of all?
I really actually have very little business to be in Utah as far as like what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So I'm a product designer for Loon and a Southwest.
Real quick,
rep.
I'm going to have you scoot just a little bit closer.
All right.
There you go.
All right.
Because Lance sits all the way back, and then people say, we can't hear Lance.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Anyway,
No.
Go ahead.
So I'm a product designer for Loon and then a sales rep for a bunch of other companies. And my territory is California, Nevada, and Arizona. And I looked at a map briefly, maybe for like 30 seconds, and decided it was a good idea to drive from Lee's Ferry to Orem.
Yeah. When he came in, he's like, yeah, I was at Lee's Ferry this morning. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of far away.
Yeah, there was some good road construction. I got some really good scenery.
Yeah. Down in southern Utah, that's some good stuff.
Found a really good French bakery in a town, I think it's called Kebab.
Kebab? Kanosh?
No.
Kebab?
It's Kebab.
Kanab?
Kanab.
Kanab.
I didn't have coffee yet, so you have to forgive me if you live in Kanab, Utah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're going to have all three people from Kanab come up to the shop with like pitchforks tomorrow. And
It could happen.
where's that fancy boy from California? I'm going to fork him. Anyway, yeah, that's cool. We're glad to have Matt. Matt and I talk back and forth quite a bit. Usually it's about product design and materials, and he's a super fly fishing nerd, kind of like Curtis and I. But he texted me. What was it, last weekend?
Yeah, it was pretty short notice.
Yeah, he's like, hey, if I drive through Orem, can we do Loon Live there? And I said, yeah, if you stay later and do the podcast too. So
it's kind of a hustle.
it was kind of hustle. And to be honest, I don't know if we had anything planned for this week.
Oh, okay.
And Lance is gone. Lance usually sits here, and we have 4 people at the table when we have a guest. But he's in Italy chasing fancy Italian trouts, cheeses, and salamis. Is that what they have there?
I think so.
Have you ever been to Italy before?
No.
Neither have I.
You know what's funny is Brett from Loon
Oh, really?
is on a plane right now to Italy for said sausages, cheeses, and wine.
Freaking Brett. If you guys, yeah, everybody send an email to service@loon.com and send him a picture of a cat. Please. It will be like, if I get a message from Brett that says, what did you do? I'll tell them, I kindly ask the followers of the podcast to send you a picture of a cat. Am I going to get in trouble for that?
I think he's gone for 2 weeks. He's probably not going to check his email.
That's what I'm saying.
There's just 6,000 cat emails.
That would be the most. Okay, now we have to do it. Is that the email? Service@loon.com?
Loon Outdoors.
Loon Outdoors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. This is going to be really good. We'll post the results. All right. So, Matt, you live in Northern California.
Yes.
And, tell us what there is to do for fun there. Like, what type of fishing do you like to do, and tying and all that kind of stuff?
It's pretty much sky's the limit where I'm at. So I live in Redding, which is basically the start of the Sacramento River, which is a huge tailwater. So we get trout, steelhead, we have striper, salmon. You can't target the salmon; they're kind of endangered. But
Yeah.
we use them to our advantage for the trout. Like egg pattern, or
Yeah.
they swim around and they're like a giant Pez dispenser.
Putting trout candy
Yeah, trout Pez.
through there.
Yeah. But a lot of our reservoirs, they have trout and kokanee in them, but your target species would be like spotties, smallmouth,
Yeah.
largemouth, and then pretty much an hour in any direction you get a new fish or a new adventure.
Cool.
So to the west you're steelheading, the east you're fishing lakes, south striper. So it's kind of all over the place.
One thing I wish we had here in Utah are spotted bass, because they're awesome.
They are they're amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's super cool. I see you whenever I look at your Insta, which is SoCalis23.
Yep.
SoCalis.
Hey, it's the pizza guy.
Pizza Guy's here. We're going to have to, like, chew the food away from the microphone.
Where does that rule come from?
Yeah, like if we start smacking our lips, please comment. Like if it gets annoying. We had an alarm clock last time that was over the shop, whatever. Anyway, yeah, so cool.
Crazy thing about Spotties is, so I have a 5-year-old,
yeah.
and he likes throwing like we'll go fly fishing for trout. Like he just caught his like 5th trout over 20 inches.
Nice.
You know, he's 5, so he has to have one for each year. And but he loves throwing like Kitex and like swim baits.
Oh yeah. If you guys don't know what a Kitex swim bait is, you need to get you some of that in your life.
Yeah. So
get on that heathen gear.
So we're throwing. I'm throwing like some streamer thing that I've tied that's like 8 inches long, triple articulated, trout looking deal, and
yeah.
And I hear him just like, Dad, I got one, and I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, I thought it was like a yearling.
Yeah.
Because he's throwing a 3-inch Kitex. You know,
right.
This little tiny thing, like a crappie jig, basically.
Right.
And I like look back on the front of the ghetto bass boat, and he's like bent over on a 5.6 Zebco system, and lands like a 4 3/4 pound spot.
Nice.
So we weigh it out, we put it back, everything like that, and it turned out it was like IFGA world record for his age.
No way.
Felt like the worst dad ever.
You know what? Whoa, Curtis is dragging a freaking cattle trailer across the shop, it sounds like. That's awesome. So when he gets older, you're going to look up the world record, and you're going to tell him that his fish was a pound less or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
That seems healthy. So we got the spicy Asian chicken.
Spicy kabari.
There you go.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
So, and you fish with your kids quite a bit.
Yeah.
I noticed that you take them out on the drift boat. You teach them how to use real gear. They can get a dead drift without using tenkara.
Yep.
Yeah, so how do you do that?
Honestly, I don't know. So both my kids know where upstream and downstream is. They know how to mend. And if they go on the boat with like friends, they're already starting to yell at them like, set the hook, set, like a guide. And it's like a 4-year-old yelling, 4 or 5-year-old yelling at you. So they picked it up pretty quick.
That's awesome.
They struggle a little bit with some casting.
Yeah.
Because we're using like 2 SSG weights and heavy flies and 14-foot end-to-end leader system.
Wow.
So, you got to help them a little bit, but for the most part, after that, they're good.
Yeah, those dudes are little fishers. Dudes, when I say that, the girls usually outfish the boys because they listen better.
She does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're tying. They want to do a Loon Live someday.
Oh, yeah. You need to do that. It's going to be better than the one that I just did. So, old Scuba Steve did post a meme on the YouTube page, and this is what it is. Bugs Bunny, when it's 9 p.m. and the Fly Fish Food podcast starts up. You know what? Any complaints about the timing can be directed toward Matt, because it's his fault.
It is my fault. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, a few other things, like Curtis and I are Loon ambassadors, and we've been for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years or something like that. But it was interesting. We reached out to Loon because we were doing some resin stuff. And it kind of, then I think that's when they brought you, or they introduced us.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know anything about Matt, and he would like send these texts, and he's like, all right, I have this new thing that I'm working on. I'm not going to show you. I'm just mailing it to you. And then you get like this package, and like some of it would be like the most random off the wall stuff ever. And then the other one's like, okay, this is way cool. But tell us about how you like develop stuff and like fine tune it, and like all the tools and crap that you have in your garage.
Oh man, everyone's different. Nothing, it's not like there's not an algorithm for any of it. It's,
right.
You thought that was going to get you, didn't you?
What, the pizza?
Yeah.
I thought I was going to put my arm in it.
Straight arm in the pizza.
I'm going to eat it behind the thing. All right, go ahead.
So, every tool that we come up with, and it just comes from like most of the time it's when I'm driving.
Really?
Yeah, like I'll be driving along and I'm like, like thinking about something, like a problem or a solution to a problem, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I pull over on some random road and start drawing pictures and thinking about it. And you know, some of it's done in 3D CAD, some of it's done at home on the lathe, some of it's like crudely drawn and, you know, sent to like a brilliant CAD guy because it's beyond my
Yeah.
it's beyond what I can do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's everything comes from someplace different. So like all the ergo tools, I think I pretty much CAD'd all those.
Oh yeah.
It was fun.
You know, and I'll bring that up. You know, the ergo tools. Matt and I have very large hands, so when you're tying flies and you try to pick up like a little bodkin or what was the worst? A whip finisher, like the whip finishers with the little tiny tube. Right. Oh yeah, you don't whip finish.
No, I whip finish with my hand.
Yeah, but anyway, Matt designed an awesome whip finisher, but it's got the ergo grip on it, so when you grab onto it, it feels like you're holding onto something, and that's kind of cool. The thought process that goes into that, very well thought out. Prototypes come through, and you know,
weird times.
At weird times. That just tells you that those creative juices are always rolling.
Yeah, you don't want to be married to me, trust me. It's like building something, dyeing something, feathers in the kitchen. It's only cost me one stove so far, so I feel like
oh my gosh.
No, literally, like I was dyeing so many feathers at one point that it like completely tatered the whole stove. Like they're like, oh, it's porcelain in my head. No, it was like, you know, all these steelhead colors, hot blues, pinks, green. Wife was not pleased.
So what happened when so you're there, you're straight up Martha Stewarting feathers with color dye and everything.
Oh yeah.
What's her reaction when she sees that?
Gosh, she's pretty mellow, so she just I knew I was in more trouble because she was actually quiet.
That's the worst, man.
Yeah, just the just
or
like
she just walks through, like, So you decided to tie dye our porcelain stove.
Yeah, or whatever I don't know what I'd imagine it would be porcelain, right?
Or
whatever stove surface.
Some whitish.
Hey guys, what's been going on since I was gone?
Hey, pizza
Holy
guy.
crap. Matt and I are like half a piece in. I just looked over.
Yep.
And Curtis has tackled all but 2 more pieces of pizza.
You guys lost.
Son of a...
The lady over there, bless her soul, had teeth that were pitted. Like maybe she had a drug problem. Yeah.
It's like meth
mouth. Yeah.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, anyway, we're dealing with some really good employee help over at
but they did have the pizza. As I walked in the door, it was ready.
Perfect.
We're good.
Okay, we don't care about meth mouth when that's the case. Old Randy Bobbus says, "Sup, Cheechers." Randy says, "Love my loon bobbin. It's like holding a rocket ship."
Sounds pretty intense, but I like it.
Yeah, and Randy's a big dude like me. I tell Randy, us big guys got to stick together. He lives out in Denver, so I know Randy ties a bunch of really small flies.
That always baffles me.
What?
Like all the small fly fishing. I
Oh,
don't
yeah?
know. Like where I live, we get to fish big flies.
Well, and that's the thing is that even on the rivers around here, you get a lot of people that think you got to dial it in so small. And then you get guys like Lance going up there throwing 10s and 12s and 14s and just railing on the fish. I mean, obviously, it's time and place for small stuff, but I think fishing larger flies is a little underrated.
Yeah, I mean you can see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm eating pizza. You're gonna have to talk. For a second.
So one day at band camp.
Oh no! I'll talk.
Oh, boy.
I'll talk.
I'll talk.
Oh.
So, how did Loon Live get started? How many episodes have you done roughly? And like, talk about some of the challenges and cool stuff that's happened through that. I wanted to do a multi-layered question because I should be able to get like 3 bites in while you're talking.
I'm just thinking while I finish my bite. So it was crazy. I started working for Loon full time, and one day they're like, "Hey, we're doing this product video thing," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." You know, it was pretty early on, and I'm like, "Well, what is this product video? What are we doing?" They're like, "Well, we have access to live stream our product video."
And that was like before live streaming was a thing, right?
Yeah, technically, I think we were the first live fly tying stream, or one of the first. I don't know who.
Yeah.
So it was pretty early on, but you know, let me reach behind here. Like, it was like, this was like the original angle. This is all quell. Will not slick the water. Do you have any questions? And it's like, you know, like we were using it for like product video, and you know, like it wasn't going. And I looked at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, so we can just like people can talk to me. I'm like, I got to tie flies.
Interactive.
I'm like, we got to do interactive live fly tying. And it was like, wait a second. I'm like, whoa. Has anybody ever done that? I was like, no, we're going to do it. So it was with a whole different set of cameras. I mean, we started with like a basic webcam, and we actually used the Golden State Fly Casting Club in San Diego because I know some friends down there. Like, have all your guys jump on and see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
So I tried this fly, and it was like private link, you know. It seemed to work, and you know, we've just progressed from there. And
You got it down pat now.
yeah, it's pretty crazy to like look at all the comments and keep up with stuff.
Well, and to know, I mean, because this we've been doing this now for a whopping 4th time.
Yeah, this is number 4.
Yeah. Yes. And like I said, every time something goes wrong, but we're getting better at it. And now we're going to get flack for eating on the podcast.
But we're hungry.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not just like plug your phone in and go for it. And
no.
Kind of morphs too, because like YouTube has changed how its streaming works. Facebook now it's streaming friendly, and your setup is streaming at all of them, right?
Right.
Simultaneously. So
Yeah. So I mean, it looks like the Matrix computers. You know, it's like if I had that many comments, I'd have to get somebody to help me. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know, the cameras. We've gotten better with the cameras. We've hit more avenues to, you know, help more people, and yeah, it's been really fun to like progress that project as much as we can.
well, good. Let's see. I'm not seeing a ton of comments asking questions on the old YouTube.
Well, because everybody's in bed.
Well, guys, they should be listening in bed.
Mm-hmm.
They should be listening in bed.
This may put them to sleep.
Yeah. So you what's your favorite type of fly to tie? Not fish, because I have lots of flies that I like to fish, but there are certain flies that I like to fish that I don't like to tie. For example, the cheech leech. I do not like tying cheech leeches. And that's like when I meet somebody that, like, they'll come in the store, like, so tell me about the cheech leech. And I'm like, oh, it's cool. Was it fishing well right now? I'm like, to be honest, I haven't fished it for a while because I don't like tying. But it's an awesome fly.
Right.
Do you have any of those patterns like that?
Oh, stuff I like to fish but not tie.
Or just what's your favorite pattern to tie? We'll start with that one.
I love tying steelhead flies,
Yeah?
and like the bane of my existence is like married wing bronze mallard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's Davy McPhail.
Right. He makes it look so easy, and I'm sure there's like some. I don't do it enough, but yeah, it's pretty horrible.
Yeah, like you can't just stick it in your vise and like, oh, well, and then just pull your thread straight down and boom, and it's perfect. He's like, oh, no, I'm going to redo that. The left wing's a little tilted.
Right. Yeah, that's probably like my nemesis typically, which is horrible because I've kind of like progressed into fishing like a lot of trout spay, and I like fishing old school lead wings.
Oh, yeah.
Like really, like the goofy ones like you used to see at Kmart when we were kids, and you're like, who would fish that? And
the ones where it's tied with just one feather and it's kind of trimmed in the back, or
yeah, like, but you know, it's got like turquoise body or whatever it is. It's like that would never work.
Tied by Jackson Cardinal. Isn't
Right.
that like the true value of flies, Curtis?
Pretty much.
Curtis is rushing around to get something.
Man, while he's doing that, we should eat all that pizza.
Yeah. What's that?
See, I think we lost the video signal.
Uh-oh.
Is it out of batteries?
Well, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't matter.
Well,
But
we'll continue to
Troubleshoot that.
troubleshoot this because the live stream is still going through.
the audio is still.
The audio's going for like
Yeah.
iTunes and stuff.
So keep talking.
Wow.
So we'll keep talking. Or is it going to be bad because of we're streaming it through YouTube?
Oh man, I think it was the pizza.
It was the
It's
pizza.
already being blamed on the pizza now.
I'll comment. We're working out.
I just ordered every tool Loon makes. That's awesome. I appreciate it. I just try. I love hearing that, and like I try to only make pertinent stuff.
Oh, the tool stuff.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah. Now we're back.
We do high fives for that one. That was fast.
Boom.
Whoa. Pizza on the computer. We're back on, Randy says. Yeah,
Hallelujah.
so we just got a comment in case you lost it, but somebody says, or Jeffrey Thrash says, I got the entire Loon tool set for Father's Day. I love the bobbin, but my favorite piece is the alligator clip attachment for the dubbing loop spinner. Thanks, Uncle Cheech. So we should talk about how that came to be, Matt.
Yeah.
The Gator grip tool.
So you guys were hand making Gator grips, technically.
Yeah.
And selling them out in 10 minutes.
When
kind
you
of thing.
say
It
you
was
guys, Curtis would
mostly
text me. He's
me.
like, dude,
We need 50
when,
more.
When are you going to make more of those? I'm like, oh. So I was ordering shrink tubing in bulk at that point.
The worst work is the work you have to do.
Yeah, it's because it's work. I told you I only work like an hour and a half a day. Anyway, so tell us about how that came to be.
So, we were starting to create a new dubbing spinner, and I wanted it to have these attributes or some attributes. Oh, you're a saint.
You want another piece, Curtis?
I'm good for now.
Good.
And so I think we texted for like quite a few months about it, and oh, this and this, yeah, that works. No, that's dumb. And at the end of it, it was like, we're gonna put your Gator grip on there, and I'm gonna free your soul. And you were like,
But here's a big thing though. With you can eat a pizza while I talk about this part of
Yes.
it.
Be very verbose.
Because I do declare in all our virtuous fly tying activities,
Preach it, brother.
we we kind of hack together tools here and there, and we've tied with different tools. And I don't know why I had my hand up in the air just like that, grabbing the battery. Look at that freaking piece of pizza. Where did those people learn to cut pizza?
The lady over there's like, they got a big one over there.
Give him 1/3 of the pizza.
she has binoculars. She's just
Jeez.
looking.
That cheech feller's gonna eat this one in 3 bites. All right,
That
sorry.
seriously is 1/3 of the pizza.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm going to put the battery down. We have, before we started working with you guys originally, we'd talked to a couple of other companies about just tools in general, like some
Right.
ideas and stuff that we'd had. And we got a lot of good feedback, like, oh yeah, it'd be a good idea, but nobody really jumped on it. You guys, on the other hand, we jumped right in, working with you specifically, Matt, and everybody at Loon in general, have taken some of those ideas and just made them reality. That in today's age, with how long it typically can take to get things to market and make it work well,
Right.
not just,
Yeah, you just
halfway
don't want to
done.
like throw it out there.
right, yeah, you got to do it right.
Well, it was a novel idea to get a package in the mail of all the prototypes. And you'd
Oh,
say,
yeah.
okay, this works, tweak this a little bit, let's make this a little better. So that was a big deal. Like even 3D printed stuff sometimes, right?
That doesn't spin very well, but you could at least feel it.
Right,
There's
exactly.
Not, there's just not enough weight.
Yeah. Well, you get
Well-
a feel.
Some of the metal ones probably worked
Yeah,
because you can 3D print steel now.
Whoa.
dude. We should do that.
Yeah, Brett breaks it, so it's all right.
Brett, enjoy your cat pics for breaking everything, buddy. Yeah, anyway, and even after the Gator grip came out, we had a little bit of feedback to make the clamp stronger. And if you don't know what the Gator grip is, look up the old, do we have one right behind
It's right
you?
behind you.
Yeah, literally right behind you.
This is the Gator grip. We will answer your questions now. No, but they put a beefier clamp on it, and the shepherd's loop has a longer end on it so that when you're twisting it up, it won't slip off the loop. So, Matt came up with this idea to make it like a ring pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can, I bet you've got like a bag of gummy bears in your car and a bunch of sugar.
Not anymore.
Yeah, they're probably gone. So I remember when you sent me the name, like I want to call it a ring pop. I'm like, dude, that would be awesome.
Yeah, but it wasn't allowed.
Yeah, or a ring pop spinner or something. Yeah, I can't remember.
It would have been the coolest name, but yeah, legally we would run afoul with the patent or copywriting office, whatever.
You know what's so good about ring pops though, is you can bite them and they won't break your teeth like a Jolly Rancher.
They always have those bubbles in there.
Yeah.
They're not made well or something. I don't know.
But if you have the bubbles in the right places, it kind of makes it easier to chew up. I was all
you guys are way too techie on ring pops.
Hey, it's candy.
Oh man.
Somebody says, "Is Matt the distant relative of the elusive Sasquatch?"
Yes.
Yeah, that means he and Cheech are cousins.
Yep.
We
we're
are cousins.
Yeah.
We both have Northern California roots. We like reggae music.
Mm-hmm.
We both at one time drove Subarus.
Mm-hmm.
We both have matching tattoos on our shoulders.
There was that one time in
Squatch.
Albany.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hung out with the Loon guys at a fly tying show in Oregon, and it's the first time that I'd ever seen somebody tie with white gloves on. And I was baffled.
It was memorable.
Yeah.
That's true though. True story.
And I was like, what is going on? And so I was like, well, they don't want to tarnish the tinsel that they put on their fly. I'm like, what?
Or the silk floss.
Is that why they do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a good show.
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
That was a great time.
So there's another question on YouTube. This is a good question from Imez. When you're creating flies, how do you go through the development process? Do you analyze needs for flies, or is it pure creation and twisting a current fly? Yeah, that's a good question. And I will answer mine first because I don't have a piece of pizza in front of me. Let you guys take a bite or two.
You're going to have to talk for a long time because this is like still a quarter pound worth.
But you did throw down a half of that already. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Talk about your
my
stupid
approach with flies is more kind of a technical engineering nerdy approach. I'm most of the time looking at it from a functional standpoint, whether it's imitating something I need to imitate or maybe a different application of a material. Excuse me, the smoke in this air.
Yeah.
All these fires, literally. So I'm probably more of it's kind of real world requirement that I need to incorporate something into there. Also, it's a good take on different patterns. Like we could take a pattern that we've tied before, and whether it's a different type of material in there, and then also some of it, like I'll sit down and just wrap up a fly based off of a material I have, and I think it would be kind of cool to tie it. And there's a good number of those that just never leave my table. I'm not fishing them. It's just a creative outlet. But sometimes those jump off the vise and get onto a fly box, and they hit the water, and that's kind of the story of the Chimera. I was like, man, I need one fly to imitate all living things in the water.
Like turds.
Lifelike turds and swimming things.
Yeah. Chimera. What a dumb fly. I'll tell the real story of the Chimera.
Why don't you?
Well, And I think we told it last time too, but did we? Did we tell this?
I don't know. We tell that one a lot.
We were on the Boulder Mountain and fishing on one of the 10,000 lakes on it, and Curtis kept beating him up. He was just crushing fish, and I kept asking him what he was using, and he finally just.
No, you said,
stopped
"What are
answering.
they taking?" I said, "The end of my line."
A good presentation, dummy. But anyway, he just raked him on that Chimera, and so I think I started calling it the stupid Chimera or something, and so
And it stuck.
ever since then I hate that fly, but I have several of them and I fish them. Anyway, what about you, Mr. Matt? I'm going to try to ask you a question every time you take a bite of food.
I didn't take a bite.
He's done.
You're good.
Look at
Perfect
that.
timing.
Tricked me.
Tricked you. I was cheeking it. No. So a lot of my fly tying is really material based.
Mhm.
Like I'll find a material, or I'll dig through the closet of many materials and find one that I haven't seen in a long time. And
Yep, that's also a good one.
it's like, oh wait, I've been really into like this type of soft hackle tying or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta tie this, and so I tend to over-engineer my flies, like exponentially, way too many steps, and basically rule out any chance of production being ever done on something, and then I fish it, and I take away until they're tolerable to tie, and they still catch fish. And when I find that balance, that's basically the end of the pattern.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen that with your flies, Matt. You're super creative. Like when you announce a Loon Live, and I usually go on there and troll you pretty hard. So, and I'm not very apologetic about that.
Nope, that's okay.
But yeah, the use of some of the materials, like you went through a phase where you're using Vivus body quill for basically everything, right? It is the air conditioner.
It is.
I'm going to go turn
shut it off.
All right.
Strong work.
Sorry.
No, yeah, I get
You
it.
got to keep talking about it, Matt.
Yeah, so I get just like really material centric, and
I'm going
then
to finish this one, Matt.
oh, you trickster. So I just get really into a material, like maybe it's a new material, or like I said, something I find and I had interest in, then I go back and buy
Yeah.
like, oh wait, I totally need 38.
Every color.
Yeah, every color of
Every
it.
size combination. Yeah.
Like it totally needs its own box in my house, and I just like, oh, I could put that in this and this, and then sometimes my flies, I don't even get to fish them.
Yeah.
Like
I hear you.
I have guide buddies. They're like, oh my god.
All right, here you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, do you want to fish this? Like, and then usually the response is like, they come back and they're like, do you have any more?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, all right, yeah, I can tie a few more for you. But steelhead flies, it's just really, I don't think there's a way to say like that's not going to work as a steelhead fly.
Yeah.
They'll eat something that's like a size 14, and they'll eat something that's 6 inches long, and there's anywhere in
who
between
knows?
that.
Yeah.
Who knows? It's just keeping your fly in the water. So that's usually my main progression for fly tying.
Yeah. And speaking of that, one of the things I like, so sometimes when we get busy, we're not fishing as much as we want, but we'll have kind of the same thing where we'll have guides that, or friends or whoever's going to go out and take flies, and sometimes they'll fish them and give you feedback on them. We went through a phase of where we did that with saltwater flies.
Right.
Sorry, Cheech is standing over there with a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and some other snack.
So I went in the back, and you can tell Sam's been working because there's a box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch that he probably pours like water over because there's no milk in the fridge.
This is literally the third
hot
box
fries.
of cereal this week, I think, that we've had here.
The last time I saw these like spicy hot fries, they were spilled all over the back of his Forerunner. Schmiggly. I'm going to go put these back. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, Sam is a good one. He's a good guy in our shop. So I think like we went through a phase where we did a lot of saltwater patterns, and we, living here at the beach in Utah,
Right.
We fish those a lot.
I mean, you have a lot of saltwater species.
A lot of saltwater.
in Salt Lake, right?
Brine shrimp.
Yeah. Okay.
You need about a size 56 hook.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of our saltwater stuff, we kind of, we've tested it
What
ourselves.
did I miss, guys? Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, we'd send stuff like that out for testing with people. So that's another iteration of testing and field testing that we wouldn't normally get, which is kind of nice. We're not asking for invites for sending flies out, but
No.
we have been known to do that.
Right.
Yeah. I think I did like a video. I can't remember when, and I got a request from a guy, and he's like, "Hey, that fly will work really good on my home river. Just send me like 4 dozen. I can get them fishing for you and let you know if they work." It's like,
So Cheech did it. Stayed up till 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. He says a no-brainer, guys.
When was the last time you guys legitimately did production tying?
Oh,
The last time for me, this happens like twice a year. I'll get a phone call like from someone that I don't even know. Like, so it's one of those numbers, and I use the same phone for work and stuff. So I pick it up, and the phone call's coming through from Brooklyn, New York. Serious. So I pick it up, and the guy's like, "Listen, you don't know who I am, but I need some of those mouse patterns." I'm like, okay, like, I don't really tie those for people. He's like, "Yeah, I know you do, because I was in Mongolia, and the lodge owner had one of those left over from his previous client that you tied him for." And that's how I got your contact info. And that guy was at a fly shop in Colorado, and he was trying to buy mice for Mongolia, and the guy at the shop knew about the Mousy McMouseface. He's like, you shouldn't buy any of this stuff in here. You need to call Cheech. So it was weird. But the New York guy, I said, okay, these are $25 a piece for the little ones, and the price goes up from there. He's like, I don't care. Me and my buddy need a couple dozen each.
And you're just like, no.
I'm like, well,
Production mode, engage.
I'm like, all right, well, when do you need them by? He's like, I need them in like 3 weeks or something. So he's like, and I'll give you my credit card number right now, and you can charge me right now for them. So I'm like,
because you have a credit card terminal just sitting right there.
Yeah. So, if it's worth my time, and I like have a new like a mountain bike or an AR-15 or something I need to buy, then it becomes a little bit easier to swallow the production tie. But
right.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I used to tie all the streamers for the web sales here.
Yeah, that was probably the last time I did, where we had our own flies listed before we were with Fulling Mill, and we just got so much demand on our flies that we just put them on there, and that was Cheech way more than I was, but it's still the specter of coming home at night and having to tie 4 dozen flies or something, for
Or
somebody
you're
else.
on your way home late, and then your phone pings and you have an order for a dozen sliders.
Oh yeah, that's
And
even better.
You say a bunch of words that you usually don't, and you tie them up. And we even jacked the prices up. I think sliders at the very end were selling for $15
Yeah.
each.
Dang.
And we do get the question in the shop, do you guys tie all these flies? Pretty much, no.
Just you and the Oompa Loompas.
That's right. We got a bunch of them in the back, and they do hard work for 5 cents an hour.
What about you, Matt? When's the last time you production tied?
It's been a while. I think I did like 1,200 flies, but it was like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like all specialty stuff that had been discontinued.
Oh,
And for a guy's trip to like South America somewhere, like Tierra del Fuego or something like that, and he wanted this like pile of stuff. But I have like a crew of guys that go on like crazy steelhead trips,
right.
and they're like, hey, we just it's not like I want this fly. We need flies for a steelhead trip. How many dozen? 2. And then there's no talk of how much it's going to cost. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess if they didn't want to pay, I just got 2 dozen cool steelhead flies.
Yeah.
But,
But typically guys like that are going to spend like $11,000 on a trip.
doesn't matter.
They don't care. And
Right.
they just want it to be tied with, by somebody who knows what they're doing, that their flies are going to stay together and
Right.
catch fish and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
So I get roped into a few of those still.
Yeah, I mean, we typically don't advertise that.
No.
I bet you don't either because
No.
you'd be inundated. Here's a good question for you, Matt. Do you see it? Does HydroStop last the life of the fly? I've ordered some but never used it. Maybe explain what HydroStop is to the people out there.
HydroStop is like a pre-treatment for your fly, and I'd love to tell you yes, it does last quite a good amount of time, but after like 8 fish slimes, it's going down anyways.
Yeah.
But it depends on where you bought your flies and who tied them. It could outlast the
It very well
life of
could,
your
yeah.
fly.
Some of the loon stuff, I used to use Aquel quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I tie a lot with CDC now. Our fly called the Butthead is like a simulator with CDC underneath the deer hair wing. And Loxa, is that how you say it? Loxa?
Yeah, Loxa.
Loxa or Loxa?
It's a river.
Yeah.
It's a river.
The Loxa River?
Yeah.
I'm a savage from Vernal, Utah. I don't know this. No. But anyway, since that came out, that's like the only floatant that I use on everything. So why would you use like Royal Gel versus Aquel versus like some of the powders, or maybe go into that?
Good question.
Yeah, so the one thing everybody who uses a liquid or a dry shake needs is Easy Dry. just so you know, because
Easy Dry, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you guys call us again and you're like, hey, I caught 5 fish and then I put more Aquel on and the fly sunk, it's like, well, you just sealed all the water into the fly. You waterproofed water into the fly. Congratulations. So Easy Dry is just like a drying agent. It cleans, kind of absorbs maybe a little bit of the slime, takes obviously the water off. Some guys are super stoked on dry shake. And it works well. Maybe it requires a little bit more finesse and management of your drift and attentiveness to the fly than, say, the liquids. So, the Royal Gel actually has like a sparkle to it.
Yeah, it's got a sheen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
I think I read that once, and I even have some at my house.
It's got like this little sparkle to it. So if you're fishing like a spinner fall, and that sparkle iridescence matters on that Trico size 22,
Yeah.
then that might be
There
a
you go.
good selection.
I'm gonna put it on my chimeras next time I fish them.
Hey, not a bad idea.
A floating chimera. That's what wakes me up in the middle of the night. I'm being hunted by a huge fly piece of crap.
And it will catch you.
So, but yeah, Aquel's been our staple. It's the #1 selling floatant that we have, and it works great. And if you're not fishing CDC, it's gonna be your meat and potatoes floatant. Loxa actually floats stuff longer, better, higher, and it's CDC safe.
Yeah, that's awesome. Another thing product-wise from Loon that I think there's a lot of discussion about is the resins.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things I think that's cool about Loon is everything that you guys do is environmentally safe.
Right.
I did a big shootout on resins a while back, and I asked for the MSDS sheets from all the companies on their resins.
Right.
And the Loon one looked like you could basically drink this stuff and be fine. Curtis has done it a few times.
You only burp slightly.
Right.
Only it tastes like maple syrup. Anyway, but maybe talk to us about that. Educate us heathens.
Well, no, I mean everything that Loon makes has to be like somewhat. I mean, nothing's perfect in the whole world for
Sure,
the environment. Yeah. I mean, if you've ever been to California, I don't think there's a product in California that doesn't cause cancer. Like, it's like, oh, bottled water.
Oh, yeah.
Known to the state of California to cause cancer. You can't drink water anymore. You're like, dang it. But we're not going to want to put like lead and stuff in the stream. So when you're using like crazy solvents, and where do you sit when you're trying to fly? You're like here, clear, like you're all excited. You're looking into it, and that's a pretty much direct shot to the face. Mm-hmm. So we try to keep that everything as clean as possible and still function. And throughout it doesn't like stink up your whole house. And
Huge deal.
Don't I have little kids?
Yeah.
And like I can give them something. I'm like, okay, well, it's not gonna kill you. Just please don't spill that red bottle of Hardhead in the middle of my office.
Yeah.
Because that happened.
Oh.
So,
You know, the funny thing about the smell is when I was doing the resin testing, my mom came over just like as a surprise visit, and I've got like all these bottles of resin on the kitchen table, and I did put down newspaper first.
Good
I
idea.
didn't ruin anything for my wife.
There.
Anyway, so I take it out, and she's asking what I'm doing. Like, well, I'm kind of smelling them all right now. So I took out a certain brand, I put it down there, and my mom's like the most mild-mannered person ever. And she goes, man, this one sucks. You know, really loud. I'm like, okay, I'm putting that in the study because, like, made her eyes water basically.
Yeah. Any time that they have stuff that's like super caustic in there, that's usually the one that's like the worst for you. You know, the one that has the worst smell. And
Yeah.
I don't know. No, but I don't know what it does to you. Like at the end of the day, a lot of those chemicals but it's interesting to me personally. A lot of other resins have a very similar smell, different than ours.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
So that's I don't know if that's just their genetic makeup or anything like that. And
Yeah, I have tried a couple of others that I literally could not tie with because of the smell. It was just like, okay, if all things being equal, if the smell's bad and they may perform the same, I'm going with the non-smelling one.
Right. And you know, the other thing with resin that's big right now is tack. Okay, so through the testing, you know, the resin I probably use the most from Loon is the thick.
Okay.
Because it balls up, I can make minnow heads with it, and it's the most durable. And I found that the resins that stayed a little bit tacky seem to be more durable, which was kind of interesting because the thick does have a little bit of tack. But like when I'm doing a low-fat minnow and I do a thick head, I used to go over it with Flow because Flow's tack-free, and the UV fluorescing Flow, or I don't think it's called Flow, right?
No,
It's
No.
just
UV fluorescing.
UV fluorescing.
it's
Fluorescing.
UV fly finish flow fluorescing or something, isn't it?
No, there is no flow in that. I can promise you that.
I'm going with Curtis on this one. Anyway, He's
probably right.
I would typically just coat it with head cement, and then those things would be rock solid. I never had any of them get cloudy. I never had any of them chip off or anything. And I mean, with the low-fat minnow, a lot of times you're pounding banks, you're smacking it on rocks, and
Right.
you know the thick is kind of my baby.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and you know, of course, I have to be curious and play with other resins and stuff like that.
Sure.
You know, I'm not going to obviously go and troll these guys, but it's like, you know, you put it on the back, somebody's resin on the back of like thin skin, and you go like that, and it's like,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think UV resins all have kind of their arch nemesis, like wax threads, and I know you've been through that. Like you pre-treat with like Flow.
And then put
And
thick
then
on.
and then let it like set, like, and I try to emphasize that a bunch to people, like, it's not a timed event.
Right.
It's in there, it's absorbing, cure it, then you can go to your business.
And I think that's one of the things about the Infinity light that I like a lot, because if you're not using a very powerful light and you have resin that's absorbed down into that thread, the stuff that's underneath the thread that's not visible anymore might not cure up all the way. But that Infinity light is
If you
money.
just tied with clear Vivus 50D, you wouldn't have that
Oh,
problem.
geez.
There we go.
Vivus 50D.
Let me tell you something. The best use for the Loon Infinity Light. It's rechargeable. It's powerful. When my kids clean the bathroom, they must infinity light the bathroom afterwards to prove its cleanliness.
I
So
would
if you
never
have
do that at
kids
my
out there-
house.
It's a game changer. You could eat off my bathroom floors.
Right.
Because I'll tell you what, that infinity light will light up any spots that they missed.
Oh, parenting advice from Curtis.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to do that.
That's pretty nerdy.
You know, the most of the people that it's a pretty interesting fix, and it like kind of goes back to the Infinity light. The voltage is much higher than a lot of the other
Yeah.
lights. The chipset's the best one. But I get all these guys like, oh, my resin used to cure, and now it doesn't. It's
Yeah.
obviously
Huh.
expired. But the light still puts light out, and I'm like, yeah, you know, the LEDs don't require a lot of power, but to be at optimal performance, they need X amount of juice.
Yeah.
So it comes.
That's one of the things that I saw is Jared Church just wins the meme game.
What did he have?
There's a cat that says, "I do declare, Cheech said send cat pics."
Great. Now, that's a good one.
Steve's got a good heavy breathing one. And if you missed it, we're all sending cat pics to Brett. Service at loonoutdoors.com. Because he's on vacation in Italy and won't check his email for a while.
Oh boy,
we're in trouble now.
Yeah.
I know.
He will laugh his head off, though.
He'll laugh until he tries to scroll through like 483
cat pics.
different cat pics. Oh, what else? One of the things I've really enjoyed, Matt, is the incorporation of serrated, non-serrated scissors. So where you have your scissors where one of the blades is micro-serrated, one of the blades is not. That, to me, is a game changer, because your non-serrated blade can go almost dull, and they're still going to cut stuff.
Right. Yeah, you can still kind of club your way through it. But realistically, with all the synthetic fibers that we have now, they're just so slippery.
Yeah.
That it just kind of gives it a good grab. And
Yeah, like grab the part of the serrated side grabs the material and the blade just chops through it.
Right.
Like kung fu.
Not to mention that they're made for people with big hands too.
Yeah, that's what I like. You know what's interesting, Matt, is I needed a pair of smooth scissors to do the Moorish Hopper video. So I grabbed some of the Dr. Slick razor scissors because they have smooth blades. Well, without telling anybody, they switched to the style that you guys use.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they now
Half and
have
half.
one serrated blade and one cutting blade.
Huh.
So I thought, that's pretty interesting that's what's going on. I think that a lot of those high-end scissors are kind of switching over to that.
Yeah. It was. I played with like every possible like configuration.
Yeah.
I even thought about like trying to have a half serrated blade and
Really?
like
at the tip, so if it slips out, it catches on the serration.
no, like more towards the back where you were like getting into the meat of something like,
Ah.
but then it just pushed at the front and I was like, that was kind of pointless.
That's one thing I've noticed. When you're using like intruder wire, you're a savage.
I don't care.
You just cut it with your scissors, and I'm thinking, okay, this is a bad example because here's a dude that literally sharpens every pair of Loon scissors in his garage. Do you still do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he sharpens all the pairs of scissors, so he's showing, oh yeah, it's not a big deal if you cut wire with the scissors.
Sharpen them right back up.
Or no, I don't resharpen them.
You just
I just keep
going.
Yeah. I mean, I think I have like 2 pairs on my. I'm not like a big like everybody thinks like, oh my god, you probably have so much stuff at your house,
Right.
Like all this Loon stuff, and it's like, yeah, I have like a gallon of like the component for Aquel and like this and that and all these different things, but it's like it's not really finished product. So
Yeah.
it's like I have a few pair of sample scissors and like those are what I'm tying with. It's not like on my desk. It's just like this pile of Loon stuff. So I just thrash them. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, as a product designer, if I don't treat them the worst they can be treated, then I'm not doing my job, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done that with rods before, where
Cut them with scissors?
no,
They don't cut.
you use them for maybe their non-intended purposes, like hooking a monster whitefish and grabbing the butt of the rod and just kind of dragging it onto the shore, and it didn't break. So I'm like, okay, that's a decent rod.
There you go.
It was the Reddington Hydrogen.
Oh, we got somebody asking where Lance is. That is a great question.
He's at the gym.
Lance, yeah, he's at the gym in Italy.
Yeah.
He's at the World Championships.
Yeah, he's a fancy competitive angler. Yeah, so these guys are the best of the best when the Americans go over to Europe and compete against the Europeans in Europe.
Very competitive.
It's tough. But we told Lance that if he didn't win, that he has to clean the bathroom for a month straight.
Well, we'll make him use the infinity light to pass.
Yeah, no, we should do that with Sam. Say, hey, cinnamon crunch boy, cinnamon toast crunch. Go clean the bathroom.
Well, what are we at? About an hour.
Yeah, not bad. We're doing all right.
Well, we've talked about flies. We've talked about some of the loon stuff. Maybe we can close by you talking about some of the anything new that's coming out, if there is any, or.
Yeah. We just finished tin split shot.
Okay.
Obviously, it's environmentally friendly. It's not going to be as heavy as lead.
Yeah. But it's going to be more eco-friendly.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people have asked us why, and not only from our standpoint, but out in the West, there's actually like coming down the pike, it's a full lead ban across the whole board. It doesn't matter, like, let's say if you're shooting or fishing or anything like that. So there's going to be a lot of used drift boat anchors for sale in California.
Right.
So we came out with a new hackle plier, which is really pretty cool. It's got way more strength than I'd say most of them as far as grip strength, and it's textured, and it doesn't seem to break things. So I'm stoked on that.
Yeah.
We have this really weird tool, and it's hard to explain. It looks like it's like a giant long tweezer. It's about 5 inches long, and it's for doing like composite loops and multi-material dubbing loops.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds cool.
In the absence of the Petition tool,
Yeah.
It never worked for me as a steelhead tire. And I did a live stream or like a little Instagram live where I took every material, clipped it in this thing, and put it in, spun it, and I tied a whole steelhead fly out of one dubbing loop.
Oh, very cool.
And then what else did we invent? We got a new comb, to work for beard, hair, for arbalin flies. If you're fishing any of those saltwater bait fish patterns, you can comb them out really easy.
EP style stuff before you trim it, combing that out.
Yeah, exactly. So it works on the boat and on the bench.
Oh, yeah, because after you catch a fish, we usually don't fish or catch fish.
Oh.
So we don't know what it's like after.
Right.
you
Not
catch
at
it.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if you look at striper guys, they sit there and like after every swirl or fish or blow up on it, they're just brushing. You're like, okay.
Huh.
So
That's interesting.
yeah,
Well,
All
cool.
that's it for now. There's more secrets, but we got to wait for those.
Yeah.
And we will get probably our shipment of new stuff next week, I believe, is when we're going to go with that. So be looking for that.
All right, so it's Matt Calise. If you look at the Loon Outdoors website, it's loonoutdoors.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously the Fly Fish Food, you can look at our blog, flyfishfood.com, or our store site where you'll find more materials than you'll ever need to do or use. Even Matt found something that he didn't have and had to buy tonight, and that is store.flyfishfood.com. And that's it.
That's it.
Thanks
Peace
for
out. Until
tuning
next
in.
time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.